Hey, what's going on, family? Your brother Jahiti. All right, I know the title probably seems a little crazy, right? Is it time to start supporting Drake? And you're probably thinking, like, if you listen to my music and you know me, you're my close friends, you're probably, now all my friends aren't Kendrick Lamar fans, but from that title, you're assuming support Drake over Kendrick. So I want to just be specific and just have two different categories here. If we're talking about who I believe is the bearer, the standard bearer for hip hop, and who I think is closest to the authentic art of hip hop, I would definitely say Kendrick. There's not an argument there, right? So, and I think most of my friends are listeners to the authentic air, the authentic style, the thing that is closest to the genesis of hip hop. Lyricism, thought-provoking, and not that Kendrick doesn't have a couple little songs where you try and get sexy, but, you know, for the most part, it is what it is. I am not referring to that. I'm not referring to the beef of Kendrick and Lamar at all. I mean, Kendrick and Drake at all. Now, what I am referring to is a byproduct of that beef, which is Drake's lawsuit against Universal Records, right? And so if most of my musician friends and I will never make a profit off of our music being on the streaming platforms. That is not why it was designed. It is designed for us to be part of the sheep and in their ecosystem, and allows them to say we have this number of artists there. You know, in theory, it's free access, so anyone on the planet has free access to your music. But if you're an artist, you realize that doesn't really mean anything. There's unless you're on a playlist, it's not going to get you huge exposure, right? You telling someone my music is on Apple Music is going to do less for you if your music is exclusively on your website and people are able to listen to it there, because one, you'll get views on your website, which is saying, hey, advertisers, pay attention to me because I have views on my website. And then two, you're more inclined for someone to purchase it off of your website because a person is thinking, hey, this is going directly to your pocket and not Apple, Spotify, and whatever other services there are out there. So when I'm talking about, is it time to support Drake? I'm talking from that perspective. Now, what is Drake doing? Drake has, in the new evolution of this lawsuit, Drake is saying, hey, I believe that you are trying to devalue me and used the scenario, the beef with Kendrick to do so. Now, why would he be saying that? Because a record label is going to give you money, right? They're going to give you, they gave Drake a whole lot of money to perform for his albums, and they get it cut back on his touring, his merchandise, his music sales, all of that stuff. So for a record label, when you see an artist is about to complete their contract, or even in the midst of their contract, the only way you can get that artist back is to devalue them. And I think the most popular case of, I'm not going to say the record label, someone choosing to devalue an artist would be Michael Jackson. When you're worth that much, the only way to get it back is to devalue the value of the artist. So it is to the record label's benefit that Drake was devalued, because one, either he won't be able to recoup the money because we're not going to listen to the music like that. There's less ticket sales. And that's how the record label gets back their money, by Drake not being able to recoup. And then even if he does recoup, when it's time to resign, they're not going to give him the same amount of money again or increase it because they say you're not worth the same. People aren't coming to your shows, right? So it's a funny game. You have to be wise on when to jump out. I will say this at the moment. If you all are not familiar with Frank Ocean and what he was able to do to record labels, you might want to go ahead and check out Frank Ocean and recognize it is a business. Now, so what Drake is doing is saying, hey, I want you to open up the books. I want to see what you're doing. Now, if those of you don't know, payola has never stopped being in the music business. They just do it in a different way. And what I hear music heads talking about is, hey, doesn't Drake realize that if they've been spending money on Kendrick and pushing the Not Like Us song, you're their largest artist, biggest artist, that means they did that for you as well. And what I think people are forgetting is, I think at this point in Drake's life, he knows that. And he's willing to expose everything, saying, yeah, you did do it for me, and you're doing it for him. And so what does that mean? That means, so artists like us don't have a shot. It means that unless they're willing to put money into us, and now you're not signed to a label, but it gets a little tricky where Apple will give money to artists exclusively for albums and stuff like that. But unless you are one of those artists, you'll never make it. So your music is just up there to increase their value, right? It's just on there for them to say we have this amount of artists. It does nothing for you. There isn't going to be thousands of people who are going to accidentally find you on these streaming services because it's all controlled. I'll also mention this, and I'll see if I can remember the guy's name so I can post him. But there's a gentleman I just started following, and he talked about the Super Bowl. He said the Super Bowl gets 60 million followers, right? 60 million viewers. And you all are very familiar with how much it costs to have a Super Bowl commercial. It's very expensive. 30 seconds, I don't know, I don't want to make up the numbers right now. It could be like $10 million for 30 seconds, 1 million. It's a lot of money. Now here's the interesting thing. And when we talk about these streaming services and these social media platforms, and if there is one that I'm an advocate for and rock with more than the others, it would be YouTube. Now, if you're looking at an artist like Cardi B who has 200 million followers, I want you to be clear that if the Super Bowl with 60 million followers can charge 10 million for one commercial, then what would Cardi B be able to charge if there wasn't a filter on who could see her content? Because trust and believe this, the algorithm doesn't push her information out to 20 million people. Because I don't know if you're aware, I now on my social media content, they're showing me people I'm not even following them. So it means the people who I've chosen to follow, you're now taking people who are paying to promote and putting it in front of me instead of showing me the people that I chose to follow. And why would they do that? To devalue the artist. Because now, if in fact Cardi B can post something and you naturally let her 200 million followers see that, then now she can command and ask for $10 million per post, $20 million per post, considering it doesn't disappear, it sits there. So in order to ensure that the power is not with the artist, they put a control on who can see your content. So all of this is in line. So when I say, is it time to support Drake? Drake is willing to spite his own self to bring attention to the game is rigged. And yeah, I've benefited, speaking as Drake. Drake has benefited from this, but at this point he doesn't care. He don't like what was done to him, and he's willing to say, yeah, you did it for me, you're doing it for him, but you're doing it to me so you could devalue me. And I want everybody to know. And so then putting it on the artists who are like me and you to say, hey, what's your decision going to be? Are you still going to put your stuff on these streaming services? So I'm going to wrap this up and say the most important thing you can do is make sure that you're getting emails. And Ryan Leslie is a great example of this. And if you're not familiar with Ryan Leslie, go follow him. He has been preaching this for probably, I'm getting old now, so could be 15 years now. Getting your fans, your customers, your consumers, however you want to define them, getting their emails and getting their phone numbers so that you can directly text and email them without someone being able to put a filter on whether they can see that. So you put your content still on your social media, but you follow it up by emails and text messages directly to your people. So I'll leave this with that, with a question to you. Is it time to support Drake now and his effort to bring light to the game being rigged? Hit me up, let me know. I'm definitely going to ask you guys to subscribe to my channel. Go through my videos, like my videos. But leave a comment. I'd love for this conversation to continue. If you see where my idea and theory is off, please let me know, because I'm doing this not as, I'm sharing this content and this conversation also as a student. And I'd love to know what your thoughts are about this, especially if it is not in alignment with what I'm saying, because I want to learn too. That's what it appears to me. Yo was willing to say, yeah, I know you hooked me up, but for them little guys, well, really, I'm upset that you're trying to devalue me so you can get over on me. And you're still, as your #1 artist, you're still trying to rig the game against me. But also for us little guys, little girls, you know what I mean? Little gals and guys, it's an opportunity for us to peek under the curtain and be sharp about our business model. All right? Blessings. Yeah.